10 Truths that Destroy the Left. 1. Democracy betrays the madness of crowds. 2. There is no transgenderism unless heterosexuality exists. 3. Diversity is our strength only when the nation is homogeneous. 4. There is no freedom without lawlessness. 5. The government is a parasitic criminal enterprise that uses the law to make what in every other instance is a criminal act, legal. 6. The moral person makes the state and the justice system redundant. The state hates nothing greater than it hates the moral individual. 7. God cannot be proven to exist in a reality that lacks credibility. 8. Money that has substance or exists as a physical thing is a ruler made of rubber. 9. We cannot own what we did not create nor allocate what we do not own. 10. All rights are created by the individual or are legal rights which indicate something stolen. The 10 Truths expanded. 1. Democracy betrays the madness of crowds. There is no topic or policy that can be encapsulated in any description that will be both broad and precise enough to have the majority of people support. Indeed, what the policy says is less important than what it can be contrasted with. People vote for A, primarily because they see this as a way to vote not B. The vote always polarizes a population because of this truth. An election is more about people fleeing a possible scenario and less about running towards a possible vision of the future. If we sat down with a focus group and asked about the platform of the party they support, there would be as many disagreements with aspects of the policy as there are people. Everyone will have a slightly different take on the issue. Democracy is all about comprise. An election is about the level of willingness a person has to give up what they want to ensure some others do not get what they want. In the end, we all lose far more than we can ever hope to gain, all to ensure those who are in the other party do not get their preferences. 2. There is no transgenderism unless heterosexuality exists. A man cannot feel like a woman nor a woman identify as a man, unless men and women are real things. But if a man does not feel like a man, but feels he is a woman, how does he like unless he sees a real woman and imagines what she feels like, or what it feels like to be her? A woman does not imagine what it feels like to be a woman. A man does not imagine what it feels like to be a man. But a man might imagine what it feels like to be a woman, and he might say this is transgenderism. And he might do a lot to his wardrobe and his body to accentuate that experience. However, if he has an image of what a woman is and attempts to duplicate this, he will always fall short of what he knows to be a woman. This is no different from Johnny imagining what it is like to be a cowboy. 3. Diversity is our strength only when the nation is homogeneous. If every nation is diverse, then they are homogeneous. Only if the nation is homogeneous can the world be diverse. 4. There is no freedom without lawlessness. The law prohibits freedom, therefore, the only freedom is in the breaking of the law, which is lawlessness. The question is, does lawlessness equate with chaos? It does, unless there is a meta-narrative, a higher organizational principle. There is the state, the lawmaker, and the non-state, which is the absence of law. This latter is anarchy. Civility is the root of civilization and of necessity is generated by civilians. There is no state-mandated civilization. This is one of the world's great truths. Civilization is birthed by civilians, that is freedom from the state. Lawlessness as freedom from the state is the precursor of all civilization. Thus, there is no freedom without lawlessness can be translated to, there is no civilization without freedom from the state. This has two faces. There is freedom from a failed or weak state that cannot enforce its laws. This is anarchy. There is the freedom from law because law is no longer needed and the state being redundant. This is privatization. The role of the state having been privatized or put totally in the hands of civilians. 5. The government is a parasitic criminal enterprise. The state uses the law to make what in every other instance is a criminal act, legal. The state makes nothing and has nothing to recompense those whose wealth it expropriates. It turns what is private into what is public and does this by means of the law, making it legal. But behind every law is the power of the state to destroy civilians. 6. The moral person makes the state and the justice system redundant. The state hates nothing greater than it hates the moral individual. The person who earns his or her own way and creates no costs for any other person, has no need for the state. 7. God cannot be proven to exist in a reality that lacks credibility. There are no grounds for believing in physical reality. There is no path that leads to belief in a physical reality. There is no empirical test for physical reality and no known philosophical argument that would justify the assumption that physical reality exists. In short, the least viable concept known to mankind is that physical reality is of such a substance that it is observable, provable and credible. There is nothing coherent in the claims made about physical reality. For every claim made, there is an opposite one. Physical reality is a contradiction of terms and an oxymoron. Money that has substance or exists as a physical thing is a ruler made of rubber. The biggest category error humans committed is in equating money with assets. Gold has value when value is added, so does sand. Everything has value when value is added. Nothing has value if no value is added. All value comes from man. There is no such thing as natural value. Gold does not have value nor fiat currency, and so to say these things are money because they have value is incoherent. They have value because we gave them value, so how can they measure the value we created? It makes no sense. If a ruler cannot measure itself, a dollar cannot be defined by fiat. This is a synonym for the amount of debt banks create. 8. Money has no value. Inches have no natural length. Money is a measure of value, a unit of value. It does not contain value or encompass value. Value is created by labor, human labor. Civilians create value. Civilians create money through labor. Money is a simple term relating to equity that has been digitalized. It's a unit of account. For example, 1 prefer, a contraction of preferred shares, is equal to an hour of labor divided by 20. This defines a living wage. 9. We cannot own what we did not create nor allocate what we do not own. No one can make a claim on anything physical because no human created anything physical. We have no right to what we did not pay for and cannot buy, and we cannot buy what the seller has no right to sell. We own the value added to assets by labor. This is the source of specialization, which is the source of all progress and the producer of civilization. When we honor our right to what we create and the right of others to own what they created, there is no need for the state. It is made redundant, and the highest possible level of civilization is achieved. Civilization is a privatized society in which only civilians exist. 10. All rights are created by civilians or are legal rights which indicate something stolen. We have no right to a life we did not pay for, and that includes the life of others. All rights come to us through the church as a civilian organization, created by labor being added to assets. This is the sign of faith. The church is the fruits of faith, as is civilization. When we work together, we express faith, and through this faith, we produce good works.